I was able to pull in my teammate, who's a very experienced commercial realtor himself, and we collaborated on that. And yeah, here we are, my first listing, and that turns out to be for $4.5 million. I am really excited, and I'm really looking forward to get going on it.
All righty, everybody. Today I have Mr. Varun, we've been collaborating with him over the last 3 or 4 months or so. And Varun has been quite the rock star. And yeah, we just wanted to kind of take the time and learn more about his story. He's been absolutely crushing it in his market. And yeah, Varun, we are super stoked to have you here with us today.
Well, thank you, Mason. First of all, I want to really thank you to give me this opportunity to be in front of the camera and just chat with you and talk about my past experiences and the future. It's great to be here. Thanks again.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And likewise, we are super stoked to have you here with us. So for the viewers and everyone watching, could you just give a quick introduction about yourself and the market you're serving? And yeah, like how long you've been an agent for?
Yeah, sure. So as a background, I have been in North America essentially for the past 15 years. For that, I was based out of India, and that is where I completed my bachelor's, went into engineering. And after that, I moved to North America in California to study MBA and kind of like transition towards more managerial aspects of business instead of being more technical. And once I completed that, I moved on to my first sales job, which was a technology sales job. And that is what gave me a lot of experience for like almost around a decade or more, as I can recall. I really enjoyed the journey of being a salesman in the technology sales area. And that is what got me to move and travel around America a lot. I did around 40 states while I was at my job, and that did give me a lot of fulfillment. But then after I reached a certain point, I further evaluated myself and for what I want to do next. And the answer was to be an entrepreneur and start my own business. And so when I thought of that and self-evaluated, that is when I wanted to be in the sales industry, provided the maximum value to its clients. And then I zeroed down on what I really loved myself as a consumer, which was real estate. And I remember being a homeowner ever since like last 7 years now. And I've really thoroughly enjoyed the journey. And so I really wanted to replicate the same feeling by serving others and making others achieve their own goals, especially real estate goals. And so, yeah, and ever since I've been a realtor, not too long ago. It's only my 5th month now in the industry, but even thus far, I have really achieved a lot of fulfillment when it comes to having real estate as a career, because I get to speak and connect to a lot of people. I get into their own stories, and Canada being so vibrant and diverse, I get to meet people from different backgrounds. And me being an immigrant myself, that gives me an opportunity to serve fellow immigrants and help them achieve their own real estate goals. So yeah, that's a bit of my background and how far I have come so far. I know there's a lot more to cover from here, but yeah, I'm all up for it. Simultaneously building my small business and see where future takes.
I love that. I love that. And, with having your previous like sales experience, it seems like you had a lot of different experience prior to transitioning to real estate. How would you compare in working in the real estate industry and working with buyers and sellers in comparison to your previous sales roles?
Sure. So it is, well, with technology sales, I mean, it was still a lot for me to work with people. Like it was still a people industry. At the same time, it was more or less like, it was very transaction, and there's not like a human connection when it comes to being mechanical. Whereas real estate, you handle with a lot of emotions. You handle a lot of, you get to know people really in depth, because they're essentially making the biggest decisions of their life and they're putting their trust in you. So they want to be open and they really like open up about their own future plans and their current situation in life. And that's how I will put it. The technical sales wasn't like really didn't have too much empathy, if I can put it this way. But real estate is you are much more affectionate. You get to be affectionate. You get to connect with people.
Well, yeah, and like you can correct me if I'm mistaken, but with like tech sales, it's a lower ticket, right? And like you said, it's more transactional. But when you're dealing with like a buyer seller, especially like a first time buyer, their emotions are a roller coaster, and you're kind of acting as not just the agent, but almost like a therapist, kind of helping them work through these emotions while also supporting them in making this the trend one of these biggest transitions that they're ever going to make, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And there's a lot of fear too, especially, if or if not, there's a lot of if and buts. And you get to learn a lot about rejection handling as well in real estate for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And walk me through like what was the process like of getting your real estate license? Like let's dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So it is in British Columbia, you get accreditation from University of British Columbia, the Sauder School of Business. And as a first step, you have to enroll yourself towards getting a license. And then you have to go through some courses, which are all done online. And that takes, I believe, 4 to 6 months in totality. Once you are through with that, you have to go ahead and select your exam date. And I am not sure about the current wait times, but during when I gave the examination, there were 1 month wait time. So accounting to that, if you decide to become a realtor today, you're looking at least 6 to 8 months and to be able to.
Gotcha, gotcha. And after you got your real estate license, like did you decide to stay solo or did you go with your team?
Yes, I did join a team, and a huge shout out to my team as well. I have some really great teammates who have supported me through the journey so far by being pillars of support whenever I need any help in handling either first time buyers or even experienced buyers. And so, yeah, I really would recommend joining a team at first, because being a first agent, of course, support is something which is the most value to you. And you want to be really well equipped with information when you're serving your clients who are already around here. And a matter of being around realtors who've been in this longer time than you have been.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you there. Like, speaking from when I got my license as well, the amount like there's a lot that you go through in your licensing, but it only just scratches the surface, right? There's so much, and I'm sure you experience the same thing of like how to just process your simple paperwork, like writing your offers, and also like how to effectively manage the client so you can get some like deals across the line. And if you do that yourself, eventually you can do it and you can fumble through all those, those mistakes, or you can lean on a team or lean on a mentor to help kind of support you with that and not have to go through all those mistakes. And even, throughout my first transactions, I made a fair share of mistakes, but it would have been exasperated if I didn't have like the team or the mentor to go through. And I'm sure you can attest to the exact same thing, right?
Yeah. And I have, like, when I was looking for mentors and when I was very fresh in the industry and I didn't really have too many connections around real estate, and forget the leads and the clients, just to be connected to the realtor industry, I was just far away from there, because I had recently moved to the region as well, to Canada years ago.
Right.
Still working for my last employer at that time. And so in order to be able to build your connects and to learn, I went out looking for a team who can really hold my hand for the initial few weeks or even months, and before I'm able to pull those trainings off, was well equipped with enough information.
I love that. I love that. And what would you say, like when you first got your license, obviously you get bombarded with like a whole lot of information, right? What would you say some of the biggest challenges initially that you kind of work through with your team?
Sure. Reading and understanding a contract, being that, and like the whole transaction funnel as to what is the whole, like a whole life cycle of transaction. That paperwork, yeah, of course, now that we know that real estate involves a lot of paperwork, and therefore you have to go through each and every document very carefully because there's so many legal issues that may occur without your knowledge and unintentional. You have to be very well aware for that. And that is where a lot of value comes in from the teammates or their team lead, wherein you can rely on them because the information is so rich. And as more and more collections come in, you get more experience and you get more equipped. So yeah, paperwork transactions, one thing that is really, really important. And for a new agent to understand all of that in a short span of time would be really overwhelming.
Exactly, exactly. And what would you say are some of the biggest takeaways that you've learned in these initial, 5, 6 months that you've been an agent?
Well, the biggest takeaway is patience. If you ask me, I mean, if you do what you love to do, you also have to be really patient before it starts producing results. I personally know a couple of agents too who have left the industry. And I also knew a couple who are new to the industry. I mean, keep yourself away from the market and just focus on what you really want to do and why you really started is what I would have a takeaway. And another take for me would be build on your current database and throw yourself out there. Don't restrict yourself, because clients, I believe, they really want to speak to and rely on a person who they fully know about and who they can rely on, who they can trust on, because they're putting millions and millions of dollars, especially here in Vancouver market. And you as a salesperson, I would say that you're dealing with a client who is putting that much amount of energy and time and trust on you. I believe you have to return the favor in a receipt manner. So like probably that amount in return.
I love that. I love that. And to add on that and like looking forward here. So we started working with each other like 4 months ago now. And you've been absolutely awesome on in terms of like your content production. So my question is like when did you become such a whiz in front of the camera, and what's like your secret sauce for producing content?
Well, I would give a lot of credit to you and Catalina for that, to push me and put me right in front of the camera. Where it comes from? Well, I guess it's natural. And as I was growing up, I used to do a lot of stage shows for the school, and I used to be in competitions for that. I have some certificates, but that was long ago. That was like, I don't want to tell you my age, but it was a couple of decades ago, probably more, 3 decades, I guess. But yeah, I was apprehensive initially to be in front of the camera, and I would just stick to content which was informative to clients, but more entertainment. And when I switched to the industry and I found out what the fellow realtors and the really successful realtors are doing is that they're putting themselves out to the public, and they're very open and they're very welcoming, and they don't have fear of rejection. And so I learned from social media a lot. To begin with, I was really a very academically ex kid in the school, and because I would also find learning sources different than a classroom more appealing to me, because I believe everyone has different preferences when it comes to learning sources, be it books, social media, newspaper, TV, or especially now in this AI age that we're in. I believe these sources have only multiplied, and the biggest driver of that is internet. And so if you are able to set up a marketing funnel and set up your database in a way that it keeps on, you don't really have to put too much effort out of your house, might as well just do that and be in front of potentially 7 billion people, now 8 billion people. So yeah, that's the power that we're talking about. And that's what got me also very intrigued and interested towards putting myself out there and use it as a market source for me.
And it's so cool because people consume content in such different ways, right? Like people read, people listen to audiobooks or podcasts, and they watch video as well. And when you position yourself in a way where you're kind of attributing to all three of those ways of consuming content, you can do some really powerful stuff in terms of connecting with your audience and positioning yourself to attract buyers and sellers, right? So, and it's really, really cool seeing how you're kind of integrating that into everything that you're doing, which is awesome. But just to add on to that, like, you have your content and your newsletters that you're producing. What are some of the other strategies that you've been adopting to get clients?
Sure. One of the strategies that I really enjoy towards getting some warm leads is, and when I go to open houses, I make sure that I'm well equipped with the information about that particular community. And for that, what I do is I set up a neighborhood guide. And of course, if I'm making a neighborhood guide, I do have to do my own research and I have to go through the particular neighborhoods specifics myself. And so that in itself equips me when people show up at the open house and they're asking me different questions. So they would have a sense that, okay, he might as well be local around here because he knows so much about the recent listings, the sold price, what is in market right now, what they have, what options do they have that particular day. We're looking at other open houses around and other things like that, small little things which clients really pay attention towards when they are looking for a realtor. And so what I do is I create a neighborhood guide before every open house and I post the QR code on every listing so that whenever they scan that particular code, they also are taken to my own website. And, that is again, trying to create a touch point. So that is one strategy that I really, really use. And even for that matter, going door knocking, which I just recently started, although I'm yet to see results from that, but is a part of my strategy to just throw myself out there in the market in front of as many people as I can and inform them that, hey, there's a realtor in your neighborhood that might just be interested in having a coffee conversation with you over real estate.
Awesome. Awesome. And what, like, when it pertains to the open houses, like, how are you presenting yourself to the people coming through and what are you including on your neighborhood guides?
Sure. I get the visitors to sign in via a digital sign-in sheet on my iPad. So I always carry my iPad whenever the clients are there. I invite them to fill in their information and that just automatically gets transferred to my database so that I can, that's how I ask them to record that information. And besides that, I put the open house signs all across the neighborhoods. And sorry, what was your second question on that, Mason?
Yeah. What do you include on the neighborhood guides?
Yeah, neighborhood guide would have, first of all, I believe whenever someone walks into the door of an open house, they would be interested in knowing that is this even worth my money? So I put these statistics in front of them first page, and I will tell them that what has recently sold, what are they looking at if they're selling it after 5 years from now, and what the history has been, how is it selling nearby, the comparables, of course, and the second page onwards, I will start to show them around what the neighborhood looks like in terms of what kind of houses are there. Is it more like townhouse oriented, or is it more for a community living, like a family living, or is it more for like young professionals who would prefer condo? And I would also show them the schools that are around there because a lot of families that come in, they would be interested in knowing what the school grading is like. So I would put in some little information about the schools and then what kind of dining options are they looking at? How would their weekend look like in this particular neighborhood? How does winters look like? And so I would just like to showcase them that what would actually be like it for you if you were living in this particular house for the next 5 years. The kind of information I try to give them and kind of like project it to them that, hey, buy this house. This is meant for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen it so much. Like, a lot of the time, with us as real estate agents, we can get so focused on actually being like the real estate expert. But what's also really, really important is also being like the expert of the market that we serve or the neighborhood that we serve. Right. And when you pair those two together, it makes our clients a lot more comfortable to actually make that decision to work with, especially if you're dealing with like a hyper local neighborhood, right? And and a buyer or sellers looking at investing in that market, it's an absolute no brainer in kind of integrating that that neighborhood content into your marketing plan. So that's really cool that you've kind of integrated that into what you're doing.
Yeah, and like I always try to look for some key pointers of that particular neighborhood. Again, the power of internet, I try to get as much information as I can for that particular neighborhood and highlight those points that, hey, these are like really top 5, 6 points why you should consider if that particular neighborhood might have the best school in the neighborhood. I just put it up front. That particular neighborhood might have the best art in Vancouver. I would just take pictures and try to put that as well in there. So things like that. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And throughout, I guess, throughout our relationship there, Varun, I know you've also integrated some paid ads into the equation as well. How has your experience been with that so far?
Oh, it's been great. And again, a huge shout out to you and the team for that. And that is one of the prime reasons why I approached you. And I must say that so far, and I feel pretty confident when it comes to learning how to generate online leads and setting up a whole that you can work on and set it up as your own business. And online lead generation is something that I really, really wanted to get into because, as I said, being a huge proponent of internet marketing, that gives me an opportunity, if not every day, at least every 2 days. And just that particular opportunity to be able to build up on that particular single opportunity is what drives me. So yeah, the online generation strategies have really been effective for me so far. I have been able to, as predicted, I have been able to populate the online leads between 80 to 100 for the first 3 months, and that is what was projected. I'm in the middle of some very interesting conversations with the clients from online, and I'm hoping some of them should convert, because considering the market, considering the word slow we're in right now towards the end of the year, I do believe that things tend to slow down. But at least as long as the conversations are going forward, I believe those will materialize.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'm super happy to hear about that. And it can be a bit of a process, especially when you're dealing with, prospects that just haven't gotten fully up to speed on like who you are and the value that you provide. Excuse me. But with that, like I know through your efforts, you were able to bring on a listing. Can you tell us about the story about how that all came together?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's been a big win so for me. I wasn't expecting it would come to me so early, but again, that all happened because of that particular opportunity that was created by the online lead generation that I'm using. And so that particular opportunity that came to me, it took a bit of nurturing for me, for my client to build his trust on me, because of course he's been longer in the country than I have ever been. That particular client has, I believe, been in Canada for almost 40 years. And yeah, for him to just put that level of trust on me has been very, very, it means a lot to me, feels very special. And I've been grateful to him ever since. But yeah, long story short, so the online lead that came into me was for a different reason. He was looking for a house and I showed up on the door, although he was not picking my call for the first week. But then as a part of being in that funnel for me, I was able to create a schedule. Okay, this is the day when I'll be calling all my cold leads. And when I called him after that particular 1 week, he did take my call, but it was a very brief call. And I was told that he's already working with a realtor. He was just browsing and things like that. And yeah, the conversation grew from that point onwards. I told him that, okay, I don't mean to interrupt your engagements with your current realtor. All I am here to do is to give you a second opinion if you might need or just might want to catch up the real or a coffee. I'm just got away, and I just told him. And then the next week onwards, I was able to get a meeting out of him, and I showed up at the door. I still haven't bought him the house, but he was like, hey, Varun, you know what? I am also selling this that I'm in right now, why don't you just list it for me? Because it did not work out with my realtor.
Wow.
And I was like, of course, why not? And turns out that it has commercial capabilities. So, and it will be sold as a residential land. And that's where the team component came into play. I was able to pull in my teammate, who's a very experienced commercial realtor himself, and we collaborated on that. And yeah, here we are, my first listing, and that turns out to be for $4.5 million. I am really excited, and I'm really looking forward to get going on it, because now essentially what we're doing is we're trying to get more neighbors collaborate, and basically doing a land assembly.
Okay. So to like bring more neighbors in to get more land as part of it to drive the price up. Oh, that's cool.
And that is when we'll also approach the builders, because right around that particular neighborhood, that is the only neighborhood that is left there. And within 500-meter range of that particular neighborhood, there's already high rises which are either being constructed right now or are already. So that is what the intention is, to have as many neighbors as we can pull in before we approach the developers and get that sold.
That's awesome, man. I'm super stoked for you, especially because I know it can be a little disheartening at the beginning when you're just starting with with online leads, especially if they're being cold. So yeah, super stoked that you were able to have that conversation that did transpire. And the one thing I always express to agents, our game is just being in front of people, just having conversations, right? Because you never know where those conversations, what they materialize to, right? And your story is a perfect example. You remain consistent, you just continued driving the conversation forward, and it transpired into a listing for you, and with the potential for that listing to even grow to a bigger opportunity. So that's amazing, man. I couldn't be more excited for you. What would you say some of the biggest things with this listing, some of the biggest things that you've learned as part of this process so far?
Well, yeah, one would be that just like any industry, the conversion rates are really similar in like every sales industry is what I really am in that, because in real estate as well, it's a simple process for every sales and job, or your own business, is that you create 100 touch points, and from that 100 touch points, you end up creating 10 very solid points, and out of those 10 touch points, you end up getting business from 2 or 3. And if you have that kind of a patience, I believe that you're aware that not every touch point is going to turn into a transaction. Because that's where I believe a lot of fellow agents really give up on online lead generation, is that they become a little too impatient that, it was a wrong number. Oh, I called and he said, no, I'm not looking. Well, you're essentially only hunting for 1 out of 100. And if you give up that, that is when you end up losing. So I would, that's one big learning for me, is to just not give up and just build on what you're building, and keep looking for new conversations that create parallelly, tagging along with the conversations that you have already created.
Yeah, exactly. And just to add on that, the really cool part about generating buyers and sellers online is that you can track every aspect of it, right? Like just like you said, if you have 10 conversations, out of those, you have 5 in-person meetings, 3 of those turn into clients, and then 2 of those close. Well, then it's just a matter of reverse engineering that, right? And finding ways to, increase the amount of phone calls or conversations that you're having, just to keep just keep increasing the volume at which you're producing, right? And I know you have an engineering background, so numbers don't lie, right? And the more that you can track, unlike like if you were to do like billboards or bus bench ads or anything, the more that you can track, the more that you can optimize, and the more that you can essentially scale up your acquisition, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, it works differently for everyone. Everyone has their own soft spot in marketing. I personally am very much inclined towards doing stuff online, because that's where I get a lot of my information from as well. So if I am on the other side giving out information to the clients, might as well do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So looking ahead here, Varun, like what's your goal with the business? Like where do you want to be in the next 12 months?
Sure. My intention for next year is to develop at least 1,000 people in my database. And also I am giving myself a target of getting to an average of one sale per month. Now it could be like 12 deals in the second half of next year, or it could be 1 month for the next whole year. Could be 12 deals in December 2020, whatever. But that is what the target, my personal goal is, to build 1,000 client database, as well as when it comes to closing deals. That's a minimum that I've given myself. I know that's the beauty of real estate. It's uncapped. The more effort you put, the more deals you get. But that's the minimum cap I have given, because it'll be my 6 months in December 2020 in real estate. And that is the time and that is the amount of leverage I had given myself when it came to building my founding blocks, using your expertise and my team's element.
Yeah, and
It looks really
it's
pumped up.
I love it, man. I love it. And it's so cool. And this is like one thing that I'm a huge proponent of. It's just it's receiving like different pieces of knowledge from different coaches, right? Because everyone has their own different takes. So you're getting your knowledge and support from your team. You're getting your knowledge and support from our team. And it's helping you grow like your different pillars of your business, which has honestly been so awesome to see you grow and you starting to produce and you getting yourself out there and really building the brand of Varun. So yeah, it's been a pleasure collaborating with you, and I'm just kind of seeing you come into your own here. So for any like newer agent, right, that's just getting started, like what would be your biggest pieces of advice for someone just getting their license, just getting started in the industry?
Sure. Well, the biggest piece of advice that I would give to someone who is just getting started would be to just know your why and just stick to it. My why has been different, and I'm pretty sure it'll be different from anyone who's starting. Everyone has their own whys. And I mean, if you cannot stick to your why, I might as well not just do it. If you really, really love real estate, you really like to build relationships with people, you love helping people, you just, basically, I would just recommend any new agent to stick to their vision when they start it.
Yeah.
And because I believe that is what will drive them every single day. Because it's not an easy road, of course, especially for new agents who do not have any sort of network in the community. And you're looking at some very, very heavy competition in no matter where you go on this planet. Real estate, and I believe it is because it is the most important thing for human, which is a shelter over the head. So you're adding big, big value to humans. And so just stick to that particular feeling that drives you every single day, and just get going. Do not plan to do this for the rest of my life. It is not that something that is the only thing that I'm planning to do for the rest of my life, but this is most certainly that I really enjoy. I've already felt a lot of contentment in the last 4 months, just because of being able to speak to clients about real estate. That in itself, I know I might not be the topmost performer in the area, but I probably would be the one that my clients would just reach out for a convert real estate market. And they know that I'm not trying to sell it to them, or I'm not trying to sell their house right now, because most of them are already working with their realtors, being here for a long, long time. But
Yeah.
yeah, just the opportunity every day is what gets me going. That is what I would recommend new realtors as well, that just keep chasing that opportunity every single day.
I love that. And just stay like laser focused on your vision, like stay true to your why and why you got into it in the first place, and just remain consistent.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that, man. I love that. And with that, Varun, like we've been collaborating with yourself and our team, for the last 4 months or so. What would you say have been I guess your one or two biggest takeaways in working with us as the Agent Initiative team?
Sure. The biggest takeaway with Team AI is always being available for their agents. Like, I can vouch for myself that when Never, even like in the middle of the night or like early in the morning, whenever I would have any question, I would just reach out and I would get an answer immediately. And that is the response time. The response time is something that really matters to a new age because they're, already scrambling for information. And that is when they're approaching people who are already experienced as you. And thank you for taking your time outside of what I know for a fact that you're a realtor yourself. I'm pretty sure that you would have faced that challenges when it comes to time management and just resolving issues when it comes to everything that you have created and the work we have been creating for last 4 months in terms of the technology that we use and the different issues that come with it. The prompt response is what my biggest beat that I get from AI.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, like you said, especially when you're just starting out, or you're trying to learn so much, being able to have that support to lean on is absolutely essential, right?
One more big takeaway from AI is the how well organized the whole structure is and how all the KPIs are defined, how the whole vision of you as a business is outlined to you. And that I believe sets you up to running a business yourself. Because initially I believe a lot of things wouldn't have that kind of a vision, like a month vision or a year vision, where you want to be and what you want to do and how you want to proceed towards it. And for that, AI provides a lot of value. And I really appreciate you for that.
Well, we appreciate you, my man. You've been an awesome client to work with, and it's been really a pleasure, seeing you show up every week, producing content and just being an absolute rock star. Me and the team definitely appreciate you having you on board. So for any, agent newer or more experienced that's looking for support in building a brand or implementing a system to acquire buyers and sellers through paid advertising, what would be your comment to that?
Well, collaborate with me. You know where to find me. It is Varun.realist. And, I'm always up for collaboration. In fact, for that matter, we are soon looking to collaborate. We just into DMs of each other, and now we are thinking of collaborating hopefully next week or within next couple of weeks. But yeah, the collaboration part is something that I really emphasize on as well, because you learn a lot from other people, and the more you can learn from people who already be in this industry, the better it is. And yeah.
Awesome. And just in terms of socials, Varun, where can everyone find you?
Well, I am on Instagram. My handle is varun.realestate. You can find me there. And also on my website, agentvarun.com. I can be reachable through that as well. And all my social media links are there on the website and my Instagram handle.
There we go. So for anybody looking to purchase or list their property within the Vancouver market, or an agent that's looking to collaborate with Varun here, definitely give him a shout. He's going to be absolutely crushing it here as we kind of move into 2020. He's upping up his content game. He's doing a great job in utilizing his paid advertising, and like he went through here, he's seen some success with open houses as well. So Varun, it's been a pleasure, my man. I really appreciate you taking the time to hop in and just have a quick conversation here and telling us a bit about your story. And I'm really looking forward to your growth as you continue to push forward and really become a rockstar realtor out there in Vancouver.
Well, thank you for your generous words, and I really want to thank you again, Mason, for all that you've done so far in terms of setting up my whole database and equipped towards how to generate online leads and build up on that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to continuing our collaboration, and yeah, we appreciate you hopping on. For anyone listening that wants to reach out to Varun, we will leave his socials in the link in the description, and you can schedule a call with him. You can reach out to him through his socials or through his email. Thanks again, Varun, and we will see you on our future calls.
Sure thing. Thanks, Mason. Bye-bye.